Hi everyone, I'm Jasmine and you're here at Breakthrough in English. Today's lesson, food prep. For those who don't know, food prep, short for food preparation, is the part of cooking that comes before you actually cook. What? Yes, it's true. A lot of food prep involves using one of my least favorite utensils, a knife. If you are an intermediate English language learner, you probably already know the verb to cut. Let's expand your vocabulary by taking a look at some other words with similar meanings. Chop also means to cut, but it has the association of a quick, heavy-handed movement. Chop is often used with a preposition. For instance, chop down a tree, chop off a head, or in our context, chop up onions. You might already know the noun cube, which is kind of like a 3D square. For example, a sugar cube, a cube of cheese, or a Rubik's cube, which on a side note is like super difficult to solve, unless you're like a genius or you get that book that helps you solve it. The verb to cube means to cut something into the shape of a cube. Dicing is an alternative cooking technique where you take a pair of dice and you throw it at food in order to make the food tender. Not actually. To dice something really means to chop it up into tiny, tiny cubes. Wait a minute, Jasmine. Isn't dicing the same thing as cubing? Well, sort of. Cube and dice are near synonyms. The main difference is that cubing makes bigger, chunkier pieces and dicing makes smaller ones. So cute! Mince means to cut or grind food into tiny, tiny pieces. Usually when we use the word minced, we are referring to meat. There's an English expression, not mince words, which means to speak directly or to be blunt. For instance, if I say, I'm not going to mince my words, that means I'm going to speak directly or straightforwardly about the subject. You might recognize this word from the expression of quantity, slice of something. For instance, slice of bread, slice of watermelon, slice of pie. The definition of slice is to cut into thin, flat pieces, or to divide into triangle-shaped pieces. Huh? That does seem rather specific. So, you can only use the verb slice when the result is number 1, a thin, flat piece, or number 2, a triangle-shaped piece. Okay. This is an advanced, specialized cooking term that even some English speakers don't know how to use. Julienne means to cut food, usually vegetables, into thin, evenly sized pieces. It's kind of hard to describe with words, so I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, so now we've gone through most of the knife-related food prepping terms. I'm going to add in 2 bonus words that have to do with using a blade-type tool. To grate something means to rub it against a grater until it comes out in tiny pieces. For example, grate ginger, grate cheese. English has an expression, grate my nerves, or grate on my nerves. This does not literally mean grate my nerves, because that would be pretty painful. Ow, stop grating on my nerves. Not actually. If something grates your nerves or grates on your nerves, it means that it irritates you or annoys you. For example, wow, these commercials really grate on my nerves. Means these commercials are really irritating. This is a fancy word for putting a bunch of stuff in a blender and then blending it. I know you might be thinking, wait, isn't this a French word? And you would be right. Purée comes from the French word purée, which means to purify. We use this word in English because the French thought the word blend was too difficult to pronounce.
Blend, blend.
A blend? Blend?
Blend.
Blend. C'est des conneries. Utilisons le mot français. Purée, purée.
Purée?
Oui. Okay, maybe that's not exactly what happened, but you get the point.